on behalf of Gwen, and the round has been skipped. It seems as though everything's all good. We should be underway now.
So here we go then, finally off the blocks and into the first round. Through the dirt we go. We will not see too big differences here in the start, as the players are just going full throttle, full speed, all the way through this wall ride, and then they will soon dive into this grass corner. Try to go as low as possible, and then exit all the way to the left. Not too far though, you can see they just go right on the edge there, right on the limit. Now through the dirt part, through the gates, and the player who chose this map out of all the maps he could have picked is currently in the lead. It is GGeek Gwen leading the pack here. Very close field, although Mudda has hit the wall and he is dropping down into this uphill slalom section. Will be the first mistake of the round. And just that 1 second mistake puts him a bit out of fight for the win here. I think there's not going to be any chance to come back when they're going this fast. First ice uphill now, first turnaround. Let's see who keeps the grip. Bren is sliding out. He is maybe out of the fight here, as we see Pack overtaking first place just ahead of Aurel. Past the flags they go, and they all make it. It is Pack in first, Aurel second, Papou in third, and Gwen has made a mistake, but Mudda and Carl are still maybe in contention here.
First retirement to report, that of Bren. You've seen it on my perspective. That unfortunately he hit one of the flags, and he decided to retire because he knew that he would not be able to make it within the 10-second time frame after the first player crossed the finish line. Right now we're following the one of the other Frenchmen, Papou from Gamers Origin, battling with his fellow compatriot Aurel for P2. Aurel going a bit wide, allowing Papou to slide through into second place before the dirt, and Pack currently holding a 1/10.5 advantage over his fellow opponents right now onto the second reactor boost part coming up right now. And just to get a good landing here, Affi made a huge mistake as well. He's 10 seconds down, and so far it is looking like Pack is running away with this one. And Papou clipping on the inside. He's going to be completely dead, landing Aurel in second place, Mudda up to third, and CarlJr up to fourth. Final U-turn coming in on this round. Will anybody slide off it? Aurel slides off, allowing Mudda to move through into P2. Meanwhile, Pack has got this down, and he will take the first round win here on slalom with a brand new fastest lap of 2:06.974. Mudda takes the fastest lap with a 1:01.650 in second place. CarlJr third. Gwen in P4. Papou has retired after that mistake, and there will be only 4 finishers.
And my oh my, starting things off with a 2:06. It's a faster time than we saw all yesterday here from Pack in the first round. And once again, only the winning time matters here. Only the winning player. You could get second place, and it's the same as getting last place. It's all about just pushing everything, going fast. If you make a mistake, you're pretty much out of contention here. So that was a great win from Pack, but we did see good signs there from Gwen. He was winning the first part of the round by like 0.2 of a second, so he can keep up with Pack here, but they are gonna have to go fast. If 2:06 is what's needed to win the rounds, then everyone's going all in here to try to keep up with that pace.
Ooh.
Oh, we have a big mistake in the first slalom section. Let's see who that was here on the next split. Mudda with that first big mistake in the round. Once again, not really getting it to work here, but it is 5 a.m. currently in Australia, so he is playing at a bit of an unfortunate time. Aurel hitting the checkpoint, going out wide and going behind the field as we now go up the ice. Bren in the lead. Here we go for the turnaround. Gwen is losing grip. He's sliding out. Affi in the lead down the hill, though, just ahead of Pack and CarlJr. Into the next lap we go. It's not actually Affi in the lead. It's CarlJr, followed by Bren and Pack. Affi is in fourth right now, but what a race.
The 2 former teammates from Team Solary were trusting the top 2 positions, but Pack is actually reeling Bren in at the start of lap number 2 to get second place. He makes the move stick, but for how long will he be able to make it stick? Because Bren is right now there with him. Currently, it is the reigning champion who holds the lead of the race. Bren going a bit too far, and forced to correct a little bit, overcorrect, slowing down in the process, allowing Papou through into third place, and then goes off into P4. He gets swarmed by the rest of his opponents. Gwen is a bit further behind, 1.8 seconds down on the leader, and so far it is going to be Carl, Pack, and Papou, 1, 2, and 3, and you can see the battle for the lead right here between Carl and Pack is really raging right now. Papou is right there waiting to pounce, waiting to take advantage of a mistake from someone. He goes for a late turn in, and CarlJr manages to keep the speed and keep the advantage. Is Pack going to be able to snipe him at the line? It doesn't seem likely, and Pack touches the outside pole. CarlJr wins ahead of Papou. Affi third, Aurel fourth, Bren fifth, and Pack takes the flag and drops down to sixth. Gwen seventh, and Mudda in eighth. Papou with a 1:01.526 with the fastest benchmark.
And it's another 2:06. This is absolutely crazy pace right now. Within 0.2 of a second of the world record in 2 minutes of driving is very, very respectable in a live round, and Pack and CarlJr have got 1 round each. If they win 1 more, then they are through to the next round, into the top 6 round. You only have to win twice here, but you have to do it and be one of the first 6 players to do it, else you are already out of the finals. So they just have to go fast here. It's going to be very hard to keep up with that pace from Pack and Carl, but maybe once they go through, there will be some openings for the others. Right now, they are looking unstoppable with 206 pace. But that being said, everyone is keeping up here. So far, 40 seconds into the 3rd round on the map right now. No mistakes, only Bren being a little bit behind in that uphill part. Here we go for the ice slide though, and I predict we will see chaos unfold here as everyone is just pushing for the win. Up the hill we go. We have to turn around. 180.
Aurel slides off. Gwen loses grip.
But it is the 2 familiar suspects here in 1st and 2nd. Pack going just pixels away from the flag, but he goes into 1st, into the 2nd lap. 700ths ahead of CarlJr here, and Bren and Affi are the closest 2 behind with 0.4 of a second. We could have our first Avancee here.
Yeah, we could have our first man in the final 6 coming up with this battle between 2 world champions. Pack currently holding the lead, but the tiniest of margins. Well, tiniest of margins. We're less than a tenth between Pack and Carl. Look at this. They're within each other's gearboxes right now. Meanwhile, Affi and Bren, well, Bren made a mistake once we were actually spectating some of the other people. Bren falls down to 6th, allowing Gwen in 5th and Mudda up into P4. Meanwhile, onto the reactor boost part, we're going to be seeing again Pack managing to get the lead away from CarlJr and pulling away. Look at this, he's made the gap to a tenth and a half, even 2/10, 3/10 of a second now as we're heading onto the ice part for the final time here on slalom at the end of round number 3. Is anyone going to slide off? No, the top 2 managing to make it through, but Affi, who was in 3rd, lost a lot of grip, allowing Mudda through to 3rd, and Pack, ladies and gentlemen, pulls a fall 2020 as Mudda hits the flag. He takes the round win, 206.668, and he goes through to the final 6. Carl 2nd, Affi 3rd, Gwen 4th, Bren 5th, Mudda 6th, and Gwen in P7, and that's a DNF for Papou as well.
And that is a 3rd place in the world time. Here is a theory, everyone. I wonder if Gwen picked slalom to get it out of the way, to not have to play reversing versus Pack and CarlJr, to maybe make his life a little bit easier. Just get Pack out of the way, and now he can maybe try to advance later on. But that is just a theory. We're going on to the 2nd track here, and it is Frozen Fridges, which is picked by Aurel. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was indeed picked by Aurel, the 3rd man in the regular season of the Grand League, and this is where Pack managed to get a brand new world record just half an hour before the final even started. A 2:12.015, the world record by Pack, who actually does not have to play this map since he's already won on slalom, but it could have been the site of a really epic set of 2-lappers from the Englishman as we're getting underway right now.
Yeah, we're already live into the action here. Very short warm-ups, and the players are probably feeling this. They have not gotten to play this now in at least, 10-20 minutes before the match, so they just have to go into it and play everything that they have, everything that they practiced across the last 2 months since we've had this track in the Grand League, and we're seeing it right now. Frozen Fridges, you should know one thing about this map. It is one of the closest tracks in terms of pace. There's not a lot of parts where players can gain time over one another, so we're gonna have some fireworks, some really close rounds. We're coming up to the identity here, the main obstacle section on the track, where the players will drive up the ice walls 3 times, barely collect the checkpoint, then go down again. The sooner you can do it, the better here, but if you go too soon and you miss the checkpoint, then you will be forced to retire as you cannot complete the lap. Right now, at the end of the 1st lap, we see a battle between Mudda and CarlJr. The 2 non-Europeans in this field have taken hold of this round, and CarlJr, if he wins this, could join Pack into the top 6, but Mudda is close behind here.
The Australian Penguin is giving the Canadian champion a run for his money right now. Currently Mudda within a 10th of CarlJr as Gwen is a bit further down, 2/10 down, trying to catch up to the top 2 train. Meanwhile, we see Aurel and Affi trading places as Bren is falling down in the leaderboard as well. Papou down in P7, the first man to make a mistake. He's 2.6 seconds down on the leader right now, which is currently CarlJr, but look at Mudda currently harassing the reigning champion as we're heading to the final part of the track and the identity coming up. And you said it right, Frozen Fridges is one of those maps that really yielded close racing throughout the season from step 3 to 5 as Mudda touches the wall. That's going to be him done for the day right here. Gwen inherits 2nd place as CarlJr heads into the identity. as I was saying, from step 3 through to 5, we've seen extremely close races on frozen fridges, as CarlJr currently leads the way in front of Gwen by some 3 to 4 tenths of a second. Affi moving up to P3, Bren in P4, Aurel moving down to P5 as we're moving on to the final part and the final jump, final corner coming up, and CarlJr rejoins Pack into the final 6. Gwen takes the fastest lap at 2:12.604 from CarlJr at the end. Gwen second, Affi third, Bren fourth, Aurel fifth, Mudda sixth, and Papou in P7.
And considering all we saw yesterday was 2:13 rounds, we now see a 2:12.6. Pack and Carl are out and ready for the next round. And I think everyone else here in the field can both beat a little bit easier, but now they also know that once the two main favorites are through, they have to perform to beat out the others and advance further on into the tournament. Only 6 spots are available, 2 are already sealed, and now it is once again an open battle between the remaining 6. We're going into round number 2 here on Frozen Fridges. Gwen with the slowest start so far. Had to adapt this line through that tech section. Affi with a big mistake.
Ouch.
That is going to be out of the round there. Might keep driving for some practice, but he has no say in this round anymore. Want to pay attention to Mudda here as he goes very wide for speed across the engine off block and then gains it all back again through this section, down the hill, and now towards the identity. Although he hits the wall here, and that is going to cost him quite a lot of time. Gwen missing the turnaround. He's going to be out of the race. It is Papou versus Bren right now, and Aurel in third. It is a French showdown in the top here with 1 turnaround to go. Bren versus Papou. Let's see who can get the best exit speed here towards the next lap. It's going to be Bren who has the best speed, but Papou is very, very close behind here.
Yeah, very, very close behind, and so far it's Bren taking the lead with a 108.338 at the end of lap number 1. For the Carmine Corp player from France, his fellow compatriot Papou is right behind him, around a 10th and a half behind. Then a further 2 tenths behind, we find Aurel. Mudda in P4 after that wall touch is still keeping himself for the second as the leader. And Papou both got to slow down on the girders, promoting Aurel from 3rd to 1st and Mudda up into P2 in the space of a few corners. Just a single clip completely wrecked the race of both Bren and Papou right here, and they're falling down. Papou even getting overtaken by Affi. They're 2 seconds down on the leader. Aurel running away with this one. He's just got to bring this one home to go through the finalist status. The identity comes up right now with the turnarounds, the 180s on the ice. Currently following the perspective of the chaser, Mudda from Edelweiss Esports, currently trying to make sure that he gets a good identity as well. It's unless a catastrophic failure happens on Aurel's side or a godlike identity from Mudda happens, it will not be anything to worry about from the Frenchman. Otherwise, a bit more speed, but it's not going to be enough, it seems like. Or is it? Final jump coming through. Will there be a snipe? It's looking pretty close. Mudda will make it! He takes the round for less than 1,000th of a second. He takes it in front of Aurel and moves into finalist status. Aurel P2, Bren P3, Affi P4, Papou and Gwen having retired.
And I was just about to compliment Aurel there on the fact that he was the consistent player. Everyone else failed, and he was just driving a solid run through the track without mistakes. Final identity, he touches the wall, allowing Mudda just barely to overtake, but that matters a lot. That 1,000th of a second is the difference between having finalist status and not having finalist status. You can probably tell Aurel's probably kicking himself right now, but the action doesn't stop. It's right into the next round. Another chance here. And I don't think we'll see as many mistakes as we did last time, although Papou has dropped a little bit here. But the way they are risking, it is imminent to happen at some point here. Once again, we see Bren now going for that wide line for speed. The others are going very tight up front. It's a close battle. So let's see who can get the best turnarounds. Currently, we have Aurel in the lead, though he does release around the corner to stay in the race.
Bren doesn't make the turnaround.
Bren is now out of the race, but we still have Gwen and Aurel fighting for the top 2. Aurel going very low. Gwen will have more speed here. Should be about even on the next turnaround, building up speed for the multi-lap. But it is Gwen to hold that first place, although Aurel here really rocketing himself up and will actually be a tied lap on the split there. Here we go into the final decisive lap.
2 Frenchmen down, 2 to go. This time Bren and Papou having DNF'd, with Bren not making the turnaround, completely ending his run right there, right now. Aurel getting a big hang time at the exit of the dirt. Gwen taking the lead over from Mudda, currently denying the Australian that place in the final 6. Affi sitting in P3 is right there with the top 2. He could be in with a shot of actually trying to take advantage of a mistake, and Aurel was looking to peek his nose in, but unfortunately that's wall touch before the dirt will wreck his chance. Mudda going for the wide line again, it seems like, or maybe he messed up the tight line, and he gets down to P3 as Affi overtakes him. Identity coming up, Gwen keeping it off the wall. Affi all over the place, forced to slow down, allowing Mudda to move through into P2. Will Mudda pull off another slide like he did on Aurel the last time around? We'll have to wait and see. Right now, he's managing to get a bit of ground compared to Gwen on the turnarounds. Let's actually see if he's able to capitalize on that. A bit more exit speed potentially for Gwen. Yes, it is. And Gwen Dardipal will take the finalist round, or will it? Yes, he will. 2:12.858 at the end for Gwen, who takes finalist. Mudda P2, Aurel P3, and Affi has retired, so only 3 finishers. A lot of carnage on frozen fridges.
Yeah, so close there. Gwen looking safe though, although it is only 0.05 of a second. He will move up into finalist status. And now we're going on to reversing, which is one of his stronger tracks. But we're also going to have another player joining the fray here. Scrapie, who won the final chance yesterday, has now waited out the first 2 maps. He's going to be joining the battle and trying to get himself a spot in the final 3 maps.
New challenger approaching. Nationality, Belgium. Age, 23-year-old. Name, Dennis Heinen. Nickname, Scrapie. Reversing by Thompson is going to be your next map. And Scrapie takes to the stage right now. He will make his first appearance. This is round 7 of the final 9, and he will try to make sure that he actually goes through. And so far, it is not as bad as it looks. There are still 4 spots that are currently looking to be open, and he could still take advantage of some people currently maybe crumbling on the map a little bit here. We got a little bit more warm-up, as a matter of fact, 30 seconds instead of the 18 seconds that we had a little bit earlier on.
And we should also mention here the pace. I love to look at this, the pace that the players have shown in time attack. Currently, Mudda, who is finalist, is the world record holder on the track, a 2:04.80. Then we have Pac, who's currently qualified, 2:05.06. And then Scrapie, who's joining the fight here, 2:05.09. Yesterday, we saw rounds of 2:05.5, I think was the best round we ever saw. But this track is very interesting as the identity, the main obstacle part that the players barely didn't get to see here in the warm-up, is driven backwards in both laps. Though you turn around in the first lap, we're going to get to see it. But this track really is just a looming energy waiting to happen on that final identity part, where the players will drive backwards, push it all, and try to go into the finish line. Going to be a lot of mistakes there because it is so precise, but it pays off. Saves like half a second, and we will see it being done here. First of all, though, let's see if the players can get through the track cleanly, because it is rather technical here. You can see the players just dancing around the turns, making it look effortless here, but they are really giving it all, trying to drive good lines. Scrapie in his first round has gotten off to a good start, although there was a mistake there. And who was it that dropped down in the field? I think it was Affi, who dropped down. He's now out of the fight through the tech turn here, and we're going up towards the first time on the identity. So the players are going to jump up here, turn their car backwards to land on this ramp, then drive over the grass, over this booster pointed against you that has to be driven across backwards. Now down to the platform, across the ice, and the players are going to try to spin their car around and go into the next lap. A very close battle up front. The second time we see that, the players will go all the way backwards and send them to the finish like a rocket. But this is a battle that's too close to call right now.
That was a really clean J-turn from Scrapie, actually, at the end of lap 1. That seen him go from 3rd to 1st in the space of a few checkpoints. Looking really solid out here. Bren and Gwen 2nd, 3rd, with Mudda in P4. Affi being one of the first to make a mistake, followed by Papou a few corners after him on lap number 1. They're over a second behind the leaders. Right now, it looks like Scrapie has got a pretty okay advantage, around 1/10.5 compared to Mudda, who's just behind, compared to Gwen and right behind him, and Mudda a little bit further behind. But look at the Frenchman. He's currently reeling Scrapie in slowly but surely. Will he try to get the risky strat done and get himself a spot in the final 6? I'm assuming that there are going to be a lot of people going for that. I'm assuming the top 3 will go for that as well. And we've seen that Scrapie in the final chance sometimes goes for the risky strat, but unfortunately misjudges and miscalculates the trajectory. Here we go. Gwen touches the wall, Scrapie's off, and it will be Mudda taking the win at the end with a 2:05.688. Papou 2nd, Gwen 3rd, Aurel 4th, Scrapie down to 5th, Bren 6th, Affi DNF, and Mudda moves through to the final 6.
Yeah, Mudda is through, but what a carnage. Everyone failed. Gwen hit the wall, Scrapie went off the track. Pure carnage, just like we know reversing to be. That last part is so risky, but it is also so rewarding. And here, where second places and third places don't matter, where you're only going for the win, you have to risk the end. It's a famous quote from one of the all-time legends of this game, Frostbuel, who says that you have to risk the end because someone else will. It's just a philosophy about driving, but Bren gonna drive right off the track there, not getting another chance here to advance himself, to get himself finalist status. Gonna have to sit this one out and let the other players compete in the meantime. We see Scrapie just ahead, Affi in second, Papou in third, and Papou is clipping the corner there, going very wide, dropping down all the way to last place in this remaining battle right now, as Gwen and Affi, the two youngsters, the two upcomers, are going up into first and second, now landing backwards on the ramp. You want to build up good speed here, and I think Aurel might be one of the players with the most speed, currently in fourth place, but it's looking very close as they're going across the ice here. Will Aurel advance the field? Looks like he could go up to first, but it will be a tied first place for now. 3 cars all within each other. Into the second lap we go.
Bren made the first mistake, and he's already down to the to the 10-second plus range. He might not make it to the end, and you saw Gwen getting a little bit of airtime in the identity on the first part of the reverse on the downhill, and that cost him first place right away. He's down to fourth, around 3 to 4 tenths down on the leader, which is currently Scrapie. Aurel trying to catch up to the Belgian. He's got also Affi right there with him from BDS Esport. Gwen a bit further behind, 2 tenths down. Papou is the final one to actually have a remote chance of taking advantage of a mistake. He's half a second down on Scrapie, currently leading this race. Now moving on to the identity, and Aurel forced to slow down. He takes the bubble, and he will be out of the race right away, and it will be Affi versus Scrapie coming up to the identity now. Oh, Gwen also trying to come back up a little bit, but it's not paying off. A bit more speed for Affi entering the reverse part. Now they're going to both go for the reverse strat. Who's going to get it better? Oh, Affi misjudges it, or will he be able to snipe it? No!
Oh,
Scrapie managing to get it for less than a few thousandths of a second with a 205.885. Scrapie managing to get the finalist status. Affi second, Gwen and Papou third and fourth.
And how close are these rounds going to be? That's the third one within just a few thousandths. Scrapie, though, winning that small coin flip, just a tire ahead maybe, but enough to get the finalist status. And the player with the final chance is now looking like he has a couple, at least 6 match points here for Scrapie to try to close it out and go into the next round. Really has stepped up here in only his third round. He's managed to win 1, whereas we still see 4 players without a win on the board in a total of 9 rounds. So anything can happen here. Nothing's decided. This format's going to be interesting all the way in. We are going for 6 total players that will advance to the next round, and we do have 6 players in this race right now battling for those spots, although Affi there clipping the block will drop out of the race. Aurel face planting will drop down as well. 4 players remain as we go up to the first identity part now. Landing backwards on the ramp. Let's see who can get the best speed out of this onto the grass. Looks to be an even fight. Papou in the lead. Scrapie right behind. Gwen following that again. Now the ice turnaround. Very important to build up speed out of this. And Bren, out of nowhere, is joining this fight once again to make it a 4-way battle here. Second lap coming up.
Second lap coming up, and so far it is Scrapie, Gwen, Bren, Papou in the top 4. Affi in P5, having lost a little bit of ground. He's down a second on the leader right now, and you can see the leading group is still fighting tooth and nail, just 2 tenths between first and fourth right here, and you can see the 2 finalists at the top 2 positions. So far it is Belgium up ahead of France, with Gwen trying to reel in Scrapie, getting the lead at the end of this corner. Will he be able to make it stick over the course of the rest of the lap, though? We're going to have to wait and see. Meanwhile, the 2 Frenchmen having a bit of a battle between compatriots. Papou and Bren battling for P3. Oh, Gwen with the slightest touch, the Axel penalty kicking in, and will leave Scrapie with the lead, but Papou's coming in hot at the identity right here. As we're coming up to the identity right now, Papou has the lead over Bren in P2. We've got Scrapie down to P3. Now they're going to go for the risky strat. Papou going for the risky slide. Will he be able to pull it off? And yes, Papou will win. Oh, Bren full stop picking at the line. Scrapie P2 getting denied. P3 for Bren. P4 for Affi. And Papou moves into finalists.
We now have 3 finalists and only 3 spots to go. This will be concluded very shortly, but it will not be concluded on reversing. We're now going on to the 4th map here, which I do believe is Bicycle. And this is Scrapie's specialty here. One of his best maps, one that he really favors. He has the world record. And if you are a Lazarus fan here, this is good news for you, as Scrapie looking like one of the favorites to go through. Papou also very fast in this upcoming map. But Bren, who's yet to score a point, is looking dangerous. All with 2:18 personal best times. We'll see what happens now.
Scrapie's strongest map pace-wise, 2:18.581, the world record for Scrapie. Some 1/10 ahead of a certain Pack. And with a 2:18.705, sorry, he's almost 2/10 clear of his next competitors. So yeah, it will be important for Scrapie to get the ball rolling and get that round win that he needs for that final 6 spot. We're getting underway right now.
Yeah, first round on Bicycle. If it's your first time seeing this track, it is a heavily technical track with a lot of blind jumps that the players need to do between trees in very, very narrow gaps. You can see it here. First jump coming up is right on the edge of this road. They're going to jump off, try to land early on the grass here, build speed throughout the turns. Now we're coming up to one of the hardest jumps, which is to go in between the trees. There's just a small gap the players are going for here. Between those two trees, looks like all the players have made it. And there's one more jump coming up like that. First, we have the dirt part coming up now. Very important part. Let's take a look at Papou, who is infamously one of the best dirt players in this game. And you see him in first place there across the dirt part. Many others chasing behind. Second small dirt part coming up here, but it is only a jump to the checkpoint. Try to avoid that tree on the right side. Looks like all of them did it beautifully. And now we just have the identity, the main obstacle on the track. This time it is turning around back and forth on the ice here with the boosters. You want to get as much speed as possible on this first one. Try to go all the way out. Gwen almost falling off the edge, but we'll be able to shoot that back into the field. And now the second one. There we go. Papou in the lead. Aurel in second. Scrapie third. Affi quickly climbing up to fourth there. Very decisive turn right here. Looks like they all made it. And boy, do we have a race right now.
We do have a race indeed on our hands. Scrapie is catching back up to the top 2. Fight between Aurel and Papou. Papou dropping ground at the exit of the freewheel part, allowing Scrapie moving through into P2. Now we move on to the jump, and Papou gets treed right here. He hit the tree, and Aurel got overtaken on the sign turn. So yeah, Scrapie could be in with the round win of his life right now, potentially for the final 6 right here coming up. Aurel in P2, 2 tenths down. We got 3 further 10th down. Gwen in P3. We're going to be staying on this POV for a little bit. He barely touches the wall. That's enough to slow him down, and he's out of the fight for the lead right now. Scrapie trying to get that round win home. Whilst Aurel is going to try to push as much as he can right here with the identity coming up right now. We got Scrapie getting reeled in at the banked grass corner. Now identity coming up first. U-turn. Both going for very different directions of U-turns right here. Managing to make it work.
Yeah, let's not discount Aurel right now. Only a car length behind last turnaround. That is so close, but it is. Scrapie taking the 4th spot in the top 6. 2 more to go, and you can feel the tensions growing now. 3 players will be eliminated here. Only 2 more can advance. So now it's looking dangerous here. I want to remind you about the pace. Currently of the players left in the field, Papou is the fastest on paper. Bren right behind with only a 700 slower PB. And then Gwen and Aurel have a tied PB here, which is about 0.2 slower than them again. So this could be a good map for Aurel, who we said was one of the most consistent players. He has yet to score a point. Same thing we said for Affi, who has made a lot of mistakes so far in this match. And Bren really not feeling too well in the match, it seems. Making a lot of mistakes this time, though. We're seeing signs of life here from the Carmine Corp player Bren in first place. Quickly caught up to by Papou in the dirt part. But looks like he could do something here. Really score big if he can hold that position right now. The pace is good so far in this round. We're coming up to the tree jump, and Gwen almost jumping out. That is so close to the stem of the tree, and if he'd hit it, he would be out here. One big mistake there. That was Bren on the inside, dropping down once again. Will not be the round for him to make it happen, and he's running out of time overall. But Papou and Gwen here in the top 2 finalists in the lead as we're about to enter the second lap. Players going to the very edge of the booster, getting all the speed they can. Let's follow this tech turn. Aurel's made a big mistake, bonking the turn.
Affi as well.
Gwen and Papou in a 1v1 showdown right now.
You mentioned Aurel, but Affi has also bonked on the wall, and he's already retired. He knew that he cannot get back from that. It's a DNF for Affi right away, and it's a battle between the 2 French finalists of Papou and Gwen. Sorry, Aurel is not finalist. He's a bit further behind, 4.3 seconds down. And Papou gets the slowdown at the exit of the side turn. He's going to leave a lot of room to breathe. That's going to be a win by KO, getting triggered right here. You can see on the overlay on the top of the screen, First checkpoint validated. He needs 3. Just 2 more. 1 more for Gwen, and that will be the place in the final 6 ensured for Gwen right here. Crossing the checkpoint, it will be done for Gwen. There's now 1 more spot, and that's could potentially go for a French driver or for the only non-French driver currently left running.
Yeah, Gwen there finally managing to get through on Bicycle, and we just have 1 spot left up for grabs here in the final. Affi, Bren, Aurel, and Papou, who so far has the finalist status that he picked up quite a few rounds ago. Affi with an early mistake. So we will have a Frenchman winning this round. Bren and Aurel now have to deny Papou if they want to go into the top 6. This is the time to do it. Aurel quite far behind already, not really getting the best turn here either. So he's losing ground rapidly. Bren a bit closer, only 0.2 behind. Aurel already dropping 0.4 behind Papou, who it has to be said is driving a fantastic run so far. Very, very clean, no mistakes at all. Good racing lines all the way through. This tree jump will be decisive. How far to the right do they dare to jump? Aurel getting really good speed here, about to overtake Bren, but they're both getting left in the dirt here, in the skid marks, in the tire smoke from Papou, who's currently just cruising in first place, 0.43 of a second ahead in the first lap. And on Bicycle, this is a big lead to work with for Papou. Can't afford to take a bit safer lines into the second lap if he can hold this lead. It's getting caught up to a little bit here though, but this is still very, very solid for Papou on the victory march right now. Gets the 2 turns that he needs, just barely avoids the wall. Can anyone deny Papou, or will he be our top 6 player?
111.308 at the end of lap number 1. Solid lap for Papou, who's managing to keep the gap around 0.3 of a second between himself and Aurel in P2. Bren cannot really get any impact in this particular battle for P2, or P1 should I say rather. The top 2 fight is not really at the hands of Bren right now. It might be the end for them unless Papou makes a monumental mistake. I don't really see that happening, or Aurel pulls something special. It could definitely happen. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Bren is right there with Aurel. As a matter of fact, you can see him pop up in the perspective of Aurel as we're going to the jump now. And Aurel gets the tree. It's gonna be done for Aurel. Bren has a bit of a slow exit and a slow landing at the exit of that particular jump, and Papou has got a 4/10 gap to Bren heading into the identity now. This could be the end of it. Just 2 ice U-turns to go for Papou before he can finally go to the final 6. Just 1 more to go, and it should do it for Papou. Valerian Ramonji will be your 6th and final player to move through to the final 6. Bren, Aurel, and Affi will get left on the sidelines to get sent to an early disconnect.
And there you have it. That is the first match here. So once again, let's read out the players. It is Pack, CarlJr, Mudda, Scrapie, Gwen, and Papou who are moving through to the next round. And what an explosive top 9 match that was.